Let's move on. Well, we talked about the O part. Now let's talk about the KR part, which becomes very simple, right? Well, we know what the objectives are. Well, we can guess what the key results are. It's basically how we decide we achieve this, right? If we go back to Scrum, we have a sprint goal. It's something. How do we decide that to achieve that? Black and white, right? Becomes its outcomes. So it's not a task list. It's not we have 20 user stories to deliver and we deliver 20 user stories. No, it's we achieve the outcomes based on this criteria, right? It has to be measurable. It also has to be verifiable because otherwise people just throw numbers to the air and God knows if that makes any sense. And as originally written by Andy Grove, the answer has to be binary. You did or you didn't do. There will be some talk about this later on. But you either did or you didn't do. And usually we say 2 to 5 key results. Please resist the temptation of having 12 key results under an objective, which I seen one about 2 weeks ago. And it was a bit confusing to say the least. So short things, people get it. If you make a laundry list of key results, this is not going to work. Okay. I once had a client who had 75 primary metrics. Does anybody read 75 metrics? The same way they don't read 14 key results. So 3 to 5 objectives, 2 to 5 key results. I usually keep 3 on objectives, and I keep around 2, 3. I never got to 5 in key results. You may need to. So again, we ask those questions when we are writing key results. If it's out of your comfort zone, great. That's the way we should do it, right? Um, think about some things like this. Is this result creating the best quarter ever? Yeah, Q, that's a stretch. Yeah, I know. That's the whole point, right? What's true if you are so successful? I mean, did we beat some competition? Did we made something really crazy? We're SpaceX and we just actually landed in Mars in 2025 and not in 2035? You know, I don't know. What would you have more or less if you achieve those key results? Did we have less waste? Did we had more people retain more customers? That sort of thing. Think about what you're going to gauge of the outcomes that you are looking for. Now, key results is also having attributes, right? They have to be aligned vertically, which I show from Intel in 1980, horizontally, which we're going to talk in a little bit. What behavior you are going to influence, and be very careful with this, okay? If you are not careful, you're going to end up with those things. We have too many bugs. We all have we have to create a metric for bugs. And guess what? Everybody's only going to look at that, right? So be very careful with behavior influencing of this. Aggressive, yes, we have to set the bar high because that usually improves performance. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Co-creation, I cannot emphasize this enough. Once you're creating OKRs, create with the team or teams that are affected by the OKR. We noticed this with sprint goals. Product owners used to come and say, here are the objectives and the key results. Yeah. And the team didn't quite understand how the product owner got to that, right? So one of the first things I changed was to tell the POs, listen, I know you guys know what you're supposed to do, understand all the market research and all that, etc. They don't. So why don't you write the OKRs with them? Doesn't take a lot of time. You already know how to guide the discussion, but make people participate. People take ownership when they participate, right? Now, Objectives are qualitative. Okay, key results are quantitative. And obviously, they have to be verifiable. You don't just pull a number and then say, yeah, we hit the number. Where's the proof? Right? So these are not activities. Key results is not a checklist. If you want a checklist, go talk to the definition of done if you're doing Scrum. It's not a checklist, it's outcomes, it's things that we manage to do. Again, positive language, simple and clear. Yeah, of course, right? Simple and clear, people get it. Evidence of completion should be available, credible, and discoverable. I can never find stuff on SharePoint. I don't know if that happens to you guys. So I don't like evidence in SharePoint, right? Have an owner for each key result, which may be the whole team. And think about what impact you get from those activities. If you're familiar with impact map, that's something that if you show to a team, they get it really quick. I usually tell people, can I go to one of your team or teams, grab an item out of the backlog at random, not a sprint backlog, the product backlog, and ask a team member, do you know what this is for? You know what outcome we're trying to do with this? If you don't know if they're going to be able to answer, or you're sure they're not be able to answer, you probably didn't explain OKRs, you didn't explain product vision, you didn't explain a lot of things. Which a lot of people apparently forget to do. So some examples of OKRs, KRs, sorry. Net promoter score of 42 or better. Yeah, it's measurable. We know what it is. It's an outcome and it's measurable. Grow engagement and gaming watch time from X to Y hours per day, right? Whatever the numbers are said. 12 hours a day to 16 hours a day. They are in their chair gaming, right? Great, I'm making money out of this. I can gauge this. MGUK delivers 120 kilowatts for 90% of the lap. That's a Formula One KR, actually. If you are into Formula One, you can actually guess the team who wrote that one. That's a real one. I have a friend who works there. Right? So these are things that are measurable, but they are also outcomes. There are activities that happen to happen, right? Net promoter score is an outcome, measurable, at 42 or better. Right? The MGUK, if you're curious, is what in hybrid cars is when you brake, and actually electric cars, when you brake, the kinetic energy of the wheels stopping, right, feeds power back to the battery, right? Formula One cars are hybrid. So if you can have this much power for 90% of the lap, that's what you're aiming for. Because you're going to beat the other guys who can't get to 90%, right? Nobody did 100% so far.